share the Bank of Ghana for rate now and hit it 12 but akaka na hit it 12 but send your CC kasano do we have to panic?
No, Edikai, Mama Ashafo a very good afternoon. Na Maka say, we share Sydney backbone and I say Nina Swa, and that's you're strong. I mean, we share so far, yeah, monetary finance and that's a budget deficit or form fiscal discipline, you're strong. Monetary and fiscal policies, yeah, you must prepare. We share the economic gains, yeah, so far. So far, beyond was we share your buffers, especially international reserve. Say you bet me accumulative reserve of more than 5 months import cover there. Very impressive. Practically, in Oman Kadama cities no a hujo crying in no and say no, we don't have to shake. What I think the obvious thing is what is obviously happening is that there is a pullback. Meka se pullback ma memfa umrefi ka grasa na ebe ya ahwefo beti ase o se ofa rubber band e okọ bank e de bo sikemu na se wo na utwuma ujemu a ebe hojo but ebe mo kakra enti wo hwe speed a ye de shrinke cities na e was eno a ye jemu eno a to metrent na ho kakra, so that is also at play, and so there is a pullback. And there is also the fact that Bank of Ghana for some time now releases dollars be bring into the system or pump dollars into the system to maintain it with giant. So there is a natural correction, and so that is why we are seeing the natural correction by way of a pullback. Another thing is there is huge speculation because said you free IMF. Who free IMF that strong monetary no go forward GDP say ebiana your discipline and ye nyina ko kakra. Enti obviously there are go forward there bibia omunyini wo wiase. Enti they would want to hold their currency in other foreign currencies. Say Ghana anya discipline krana and how and some also believe say we a historical antecedent say if IMF biana na OMAN economic gains no say that could happen. Another thing is obviously we share inflation so far for some time now. I say there has been a surge, inflation increasing marginally, and I have always maintained say anytime you see inflation moving up, it tells you that the cities is not performing or the city is not performing its store value function well to a large extent. Until once there is inflation, and go forward, they say it can translate into Western currency or depreciation. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so I think these are some of the things happening. And you may go out my I feel no no workers in paying for that no be or more fast or manyano or more better into other currencies, no medical in most cases into dollars and repatriate it. Into repatriation is also at play, and generally the United Nations dollars the US dollars gain strength. The situation in the Middle East now relaxed kakra, and people believe that US interest rate could either be maintained or increased, and they would want to take advantage of it. So obviously, people are attempting to buy US dollar denominated assets. And US dollars gain strength globally, and again strength globally, Ghana will not be an exempt. Of course, it will have repercussions on us. And sometimes some of the things we see regarding the movement of the currency,
Hello. Yeah. I'm saying why you need to cook a crowd. I say, and you need na hot to call ya.
Yes, Trameka say, and obviously a great deal of it, globally, US dollars gain strength. The US dollars gain strength, that there is always capital movement. And where or maybe an affect. But what I'm saying is that in our case, it is at play, but most of the things, the factors that influence what we are seeing now is domestic. And so, and we can also rule out the fact that we are still largely dependent on imports. And around this time, now, wise traders would want to start mobilizing dollars to make purchases or to pay for their import. And all these things come to play to cause what we are seeing now.
That's fantastic. But Bank of Ghana announced to say they are ready to pump in $1.2 billion into the economy to reverse this depreciation now. Sir, idea we say now we can pull back. I don't know if I have gotten the word correct. We see pull back.
Yes.
You know, hey, it's any time bianwa. It be a bear relax kakra se Cedi na nka san fa na hoden any dollar no kono na e ka create problem. Sa practice no, is it something that bet me aboard this country, because we always have to pump money to make sure that the Cedi no are stabilized. Is it a good practice?
Well, on my be any we are here obeja say the currency and fluctuate like that. On my be we are will pay attention to the currency, and sometimes it is prudent to manage it to some extent. What rather becomes worrying, they say, reserves no deplete fast in a very fast manner, speedily. Not still pump here, then there's an issue. Or say in one to say inflation very high, monetary policy rate was all the macroeconomic indicators and correct. Not say what that's so pump it is not sustainable. But in an instance fundamentals are very strong. Now buffers, strong buffers, and yes, we share and share high say we see kind of best say. And for me, because we still have strong macroeconomic variables and we have strong buffers. I mean, we are talking about in excess of five months import cover. I think that the Bank of Ghana intervened and you're bad. But then going forward, we have to work on our industries and agriculture industry. That is the only way forward. If we don't diversify our exports and make sure that we are politically, no matter how hard we try, the exchange rate will not be favorable to us. So yes, it is not. We will not say it is not the best. We will say it is not the best. However, I say so Bank of Ghana intervening, given the fact that we have strong buffers, I think they are doing the right thing.
I see. Now take us through. You can say you disika kwa kurema. Say the Bank of Ghana say over the $1.2 billion. You the babira economy. You need baby omdi kura. Take us through. Dey na ya omdi say sika ne ye. Omdi ye dey. You the commercial before. You the kototo normal. Dey na dey ya kase you disika no ewremu. And you do Ramusuna, do we get it back? Chechiremu.
People bring over my banks, say, minimum what price of a international transaction recently? The last time I'm here, was I think 2 or 3 months ago. It took me more than 1 month for the transaction. Me the bank work on because I was in a hurry. Me call bank will be almost say almost the court treasury near there, but Bank of Ghana issues. I mean, they don't have dollars, enough dollars. And you know, I transfer $100,000. I will take you several months because dollars no any system in Musa. Now, scarcity no. So in economics, and it applies to currencies. It is a dollars when you're doing money more. Dollars ni peja. I'm a citizen say. And what the Bank of Ghana will do, they say, Obama banks ni be brain. Into Okoya transaction and China. So the dollars will be available. A bourgeois never want to buy from. That's all that they do. So it's not as if say over the top baby, but in most cases, they give it to the banks to facilitate their transactions. And to overconnect QB or banks now, one more ADQ, one more say, one more dollars, no more transaction. I go through. We have universities, our partner, other universities, school fees near the so they call dollars. But sometimes it delays. Your importers are one more ehiesika, edition no maka, one at the advice I'm a banks no IBBA but a secure no the more yes and they resort to the black markets into a basa dollars no more thing. So all that the banks the Bank of Ghana will do is to release the money to the banks to do their transactions. Once that happens, Oko Bank so there is no need for scarcity and yes scarce and to a large extent dollars now for citizens now more than now. However, to cure all these things, like I was saying, the best way is to make sure that we reduce our dependence on imports, because obviously what did the chrome scan better? And I say in most cases dollars, because even in cases me personally, my crown away other countries say the exporters no demanded dollars. What do you know I want to say? Like sometimes if you are buying things from China, you are still compelled to use dollars, even though China for Sika. But I also want Sika internationally accepted a strong stability. And that is the problem we face now. So I think that if we don't begin to pay attention to agriculture and industry and look through the lens and see how best we can empower our local producers and manufacturers to work, we always be dependent on imports. And once we are overly dependent on import, these things would keep coming up intermittently. We need to work on the structure of our economy. But for now, I must say that there is no need for us to panic, because depreciation is just about 4.6%. But Usha gains that you make from last year 2025, it's between 20 to 40% as compared to just about 4.6% depreciation. So I think there's no need for us to worry.
I sometimes say some of the economists be almost say, oh, ini spend this $1 I see the no hodo ya baka see the no hodo says sika no ana the comma banks no dollars now the comma banks no aya Bank of Ghana sa edge in the back aya yensa ya kasa sa in the back and I say quite maybe
yeah in the back sometimes it comes with profit for them, but the problem is the revaluation effect. You see, economic bond be now see a revaluation effect obakaya and no ma opposition for no I will quickly come back so that we don't delve into politics. But so back opposition for the say one more loss they should post it in their profit and loss account. Now majority for and I say ruling government no say ebo so posting into other comprehensive income. And I agreed with the fact that some of the incomes and I say issues na revaluation effect any sports and it conforms to international financial reporting standards. Say in that regard, no put in the other comprehensive income. Intina Emma in be about, but some of the losses it is not because say if you this kind of banks and maybe but a revaluation effect. The person mentioned say see this no no. Bank of Ghana one more international reserves are a year in dollars, a BA in dollars. One more other assets are denominated in dollars. And to say say you have to say $1 to 10 cedis. And then what they calculate to profit asset out interest say so much me a free $1 to 10 cedis never $1 to let's say 8 cedis 2 cedis there on international reserve one more calculation now.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you get my point.
Yeah, I get your point. Yeah.
Exactly. But the thing is that when you value it, because of the improvement in the cities, ama as what they convert by cities are and some of the losses and yes, be accounting costs. Just the fact that if you value it, they are not getting the same amount as Gombenyano. And the reason why we sometimes argue and I say confirm the fact that endorse the fact that it should be in other comprehensive income. They say the situation can change because it's not as if the Bank of Ghana aid or more international reserves in it is not as if say one more asset denominated in dollars in one more ton and then in every hole. In a year or two be a next 4 years and I said the next year the situation can change. There could be a reversal. That is why it is good to post it, but it is not good to factor it in the sports accounting.
I see. Now, see, you share IMF, you free IMF no, you join a policy coordinating instruments. No, you say a sovereign nation, you come IMF for atnet ne adia. Now, sad USA doesn't mean that say 1.2 billion no, you de ko ra no. Do we have to consult them? And on the bet me a consult and I say a sovereign nation, you know money BBI advice the different work.
So they will be notified. They will have to know. Say this is what we are doing. Because see, we have quality at the home, but said they work policy coordination instrument means that they will always have to advise us. Until so much say they will advise us against it. So one can say the implication is that we are saying they will say as well. They be we will lose credibility. Until investors will start pulling out until it will affect us. And so the government will listen to them. Yes, but open credibility. There is this Asante proverb. If I get it wrongly, forgive me. I say, yeah. Good. It is the same thing. So, credibility be if you want it is a woman for us any negative judgment on your economic progress would affect you. So you'll be compelled to listen to them. So I don't think we will do anything without their their knowledge. We want to be transparent and to seek their opinion. Say this is what's happening. And I don't think given our buffer, the medical explain the IMF will have issues with that, because I must tell you that we have been able to accumulate our international reserves to the highest in a decade. It's not as if Ghana has thrown up its hands in despair. We are still doing well, and that marginal depreciation is not something we should be so much worried about.
I remember because we say complaining, it is a good practice, it is not. I remember in the NPP time, Dr. Addison time, let me put it this way. Time ana Cedi no kwede nimpa no. Miso nkofo ka se onye no nchi Cedi ni nyina o. E mane ka se ene ye obetimi aya ma Cedi no aba ebia 1 Ghana cedi to ebia 1 Ghana cedi. The repercussion no emwa this country. Ebi ni se obetimi atu sika gum ti se de ene de ekoso da na yetim de achi Cedi na gyina na ka che se okasa repercussion bi wachira sa practice ni bibi wo ho ana okasa repercussion na say esusuaso boni bi wetimi abadachi a udi sika ekwa economy mu 1.2 billion se me kwachi Cedi na gyina wa the disadvantage somehow any say.
Yes, the disadvantage in say the edikan ebetumi deplete wo international reserves are one. It slightest shock biaba ebe how. The previous government eye bebre edum rebi no na ye international reserves ye one just about 3 weeks import cover, 3 weeks pay. But like I wanted earlier 3 weeks in the past. So economy to be or credible no. So international reserves just about 3 weeks import cover. Now say who person who could release be at the sustaining currency, there will be complaints. Obi have complaints say and you're sustainable. And let me remind you that around that time we were doing extreme monetary finance, and now your budget deficit it me issue to about 11%. And also trigger inflation. So inflation issue 2 year for the and it was because of all these things. So it is not as if you want to single out one factor and use that in your analysis. You want to look at it comprehensively. Into factors and many say inflation at the same say even government a pump is going to the economy. That's a better get inflation already. Inflation. I no say yes, just about 3.7%. That is the latest figure. 3.7%. We even single digits yet. We are not even close to where Ghana are around 8% right yet. And so based on the macroeconomic fundamentals and the buffers we've built so far, I am saying that it is not as dangerous as it would have been around 2022, 2023 to do the same thing. Because the interview we in 2022 and after 2023, and Kameka will say it will be senseless to attempt to manage the currency this way. Because around that time, buffers name a depleted nama it is a buffers the slightest shock will throw the economy overboard. And I can tell you that at a point in this country now, Sikakra a problem. And that is how come we needed IMF so badly. But the situation is not the same. So we cannot compare what used to be happening to now. Now the economy has improved so much such that if the government even wants to release, $3 billion to manage the economy, in the interim. I see nothing wrong with it because we have built strong buffers and we still have a very positive gap between inflation and interest rates. All these things, investors would have to look at all these things. I mean, is it possible, say, because here I can say even reference rate, your reference rate, around 10.5 or so, very low. It means that we still have a very positive gap between inflation and interest rate. You bet me, I just see a kakra. So I am saying that we don't have to be too worried in the meantime. But say it do that time, because given our buffers we will say it. But for now, based on my knowledge and frequent analysis of how Ghana has been faring economically, I don't think that there is a need for us to worry.
You use the word artificial. Economy artificial. I hope say I what 30% omo.
Yes.
Artificial. No. What is artificial about this economy? Because economy for me, as compared to 2024, no, this one we have seen slight changes. So if you see changes, there's a change. We have gains. Near kasa artificial. What are some of the things money artificial?
Okay, so one more part say it should be organically managed. Into the economy should handle itself. Into you say and kasisi a government of Bank of Ghana na office ke bi an share mu no. And ka say economy nankasa currency strong by itself and no natural organic. But bebre never hu say abani diska ebewrem no on manage artificial. But you see, it is not always the case. So let me say that yankobo obosia say the best idea no. Ghana odifri odibeshem no if your money mo na odibeshem. It's like we be baby to strengthen the entire system. The reason I make us say most of the reserves they are building this time around by the grace of God. And your loan, yankobo issue Eurobond and I say yankopo is kawamanone. Good na yaton no husika. Any DB yes idea no. So because I artificial, I want to allow them to say it. But technically, it is not as artificial as they think because Sikana ya they manage and yabusia and yakofe free outside the system. It is within the system and it is coming from gold purchases in the revenue yenya. Say when your economists and I say one economy na see na artificial, I will not fight you because it is not your fault. But technically, it is not artificial as they are saying. But the best way is say Bank of Ghana face the system must work to handle itself.
The system has to work to handle itself. System ben
for example, Sika Anka the amount of dollars that you was system is so better naturally because normal you do Ghana ha no ye normal you produce Ghana ha into the economy no ehia dollars bebre because we are not importing too much. And after dollars nank ye here no say ye cross out the ye here and the cities for here should cross out. And the meaning is that we are exporting and we have been able to diversify our export into Sikadoa and for the dollars cities and for here they are normal. And the dollars is here they are for normal should cross out naturally, which means that ye export more as we import. But in this case, let's say oil net now. Another because you import more than into the near the cow until naturally say to me agree na ye boost industry and no man be brain and money to pick near the attack rabbi ye be wa higher and ye here dollars be brain until ye cross it out the system can handle itself ye here Bank of Ghana say or this kababa bishim.
Okay, all right.
But let me add the structure of the economy. And so going forward, Bank of Ghana sustaining it with especially revenue from gold purchases, and but it is not the best going forward. So the Bank of Ghana together with the and industry.
That fantastic analysis. So, Doug, you better say, pa. It is said, dear, do the dear, we should not panic at all. Say, Bessa Senate, Chiakoti said, maybe near Huno. We should not panic.
Not at all.
All right.
Yes, but I was there panicking, so we will say it without fear.
All right.